Sup Shredders! My name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Dinnerhe as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen from an act named DEN with a Shi Shi titled Got You. So we're going to listen through this track from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go! Get a lyric set up here. Got clocks going backwards, I suppose. I mean, this is so much within the first 10 seconds, isn't it?
I got a something to raise. Quite on the eye. Got on this out of the bracky, start of the hoopty.
I mean, it's great to be able to combine the English and I think Mandarin together as a more sort of like, I suppose, inclusive experience. I'm not sure whether there's extra context per language or whether they're better together or it's the same thing apart, but you know, either way, it's cool.
I lied you, I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm gonna go downward.
I mean, like the bass it pulsates, you can actually feel it kind of writhing around in the headphones. It's really something. Is this Shi Shi here? I suppose it would be. This is kind of a situation where I wish I could like understand the language so that I could see how both interact. The motif vocals and production are stellar. Here we go. I mean, there's a great sense of chemistry between the two of them when they harmonize together. Some jazzy extensions here with these chords. Wondrous harmonies. I mean, it's kind of a nice opportunity to kind of appreciate the little kind of splashy bits of percussion there, the stabby kind of bass lines. And the really kind of unique sample choices they've put here to make beats together. It kind of sounds like it's dragging against the headphones a little bit, like they're kind of scooping into your eardrums. It's a kind of unusual feeling, to be honest. But if we could look at the lyrics here kindly provided by Dinnerhe. What a bad mind thinking got in my way, girl, I know something. Is love on the brink fluctuating, seeing you carefree bragging. Swaying body, the outer love, how beautiful can it be? That you skipped me, took the bait, but I still have a longing stronger than you think. Everything is too pathetic, love is no longer beautiful, regret reincarnation. Forget it from start till finish, just need to lean on. Longing for love yet neglecting it. Break a few things. Between us it's surrounded by walls. Let's break it. Okay. Alright, I think I've kinda got this. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named DEN and Shi Shi, who, as I understand it, Shi Shi did the composition, or there was the composer and the lyricist as well, which is kind of dope. But this track got you. Now, what do I think this track is about? After reading through the lyrics, I can only surmise that it's about sort of a couple, and I think what they talk about having someone and like breaking things is they're trying to sort of communicate that they want to sort of destabilize maybe the safe space they're in where they're loving each other, but maybe there's not as much passion as there used to be. And so they're trying to sort of push out the boundaries of what they have and what they consider love in a relationship and kind of try and make it truly something special. You know, to have a bit of danger involved there, you know, for things not to necessarily be perfect, but for them to be exciting and passionate. They've clearly got an interest in each other. It's just basically figuring out where they're at, how they're going to sort of like move forwards, and they want to break a few things. They look at the mirror and they think about how bad they are, but it's more a case of accepting their own humanity, their own limitations, and trying to sort of lean on each other and focus on the love that they neglect. That's basically my take on it. I think the story is interesting. I'm not quite sure I have all the nuance there on the first listen, but I'm sure if I took more time to think about it and post, I'd probably get it. So that's my take at the moment. But the vocals are great. I like the vocals from DEN as well as Shi Shi. They have a great chemistry together on their own. They're great singers. Both have really solid head and chest voice vocal technique there. Lots of range to sort of mess around in the frequency spectrum there, going between octaves there. They niched nicely or amalgamated nicely between their sort of ranges and the harmonized sections. And altogether, it's just a really nice, chilled, sweet performance there. Very relaxed, nice and easy to listen to. Very palatable and easy on the ears. I think it's a really well-written track because of the vocals alone and how they are performed and sort of like communicated and expressed and how that works with the lyrics. I think that it's people trying to sort of like communicate nice and calmly and sweetly to each other that they want to have more than this. And it's that kind of postmodern, oh, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm too much into it. I'm just going to play it cool, but also we're going to break some stuff, and that's kind of how it is. That kind of vibe to it. It's a thing with like a lot of modern pop music and R&B as well, and I think it's kind of slick. It's dope. It's well handled in that respect. The track at 3 minutes is basically just verses and choruses and an interesting intro motif with more sort of vocal riffing after the verses and choruses and various sections at the end with like just like, you know, DEN and Shi Shi kind of humming over top of it. But you have DEN coming in at the start of the first verse and then Shi Shi coming in the later half, and they sort of trade off and kind of fill each other in. And together at the end, after they've broken some stuff and communicated, they come together, and it's really satisfying. I think that the structure, it flows seamlessly. The theme itself, if you look at the bass line, the notes, and then the ones in the chord progression, it's not so much that the chord progression and bass lines are interesting because they're very similar and sort of played out throughout. There's nothing necessarily revolutionary going on. It's more that we have a situation here where the two musicians involved, they simply have, well, they've put so many interesting sounds in. It's these kind of funky bass notes where like there's a thick kind of step, they're kind of really funky, energetic, but really cool sounding basses there, which have a nice mid-range resonance there and punctuate the mix really sweetly. The percussion was kind of neat as well, how we had like these interesting 16th note grooves there. They had a bit of a swing to them, a bit of a swagger to them. It kind of helped move the track forward without being too over-eager. And there were some interesting sort of splashy kind of tones there, some unusual sample sounds that were chosen, I think, not only to stand out and be a bit unique, I think it's just meant to sound like kind of a little bit experimental and kind of fresh, and that's the kind of direction that a lot of this kind of R&B-ish kind of stuff is going in. This 2020 stuff where we really want to sort of like not just stick with the traditional element. We had organs and basses and stuff like that there, with a little bit of sort of like vibrato on the right hand. But it's these, we're not just using typical drum kits and stuff like that, or even drum samples of like sort of electronic kits. We're really trying to sort of go outside the box and find our own sort of sounds. I think that they did that there. The progressions in the mid-range again on the keys there were wondrous. I really appreciated not just the broken chord parts, but also when they came together with a little bit of a glissando run or something. I think it's just really chilled out sounding, which kind of reflects the way the vocals were performed. It's not too over the top and in your face there, and it works well with the relatively down tempo sort of kits, sort of vibes with the basses. And I mean, those were the main parts they picked out. There's a lot of different instrumental layers within this. There are a lot of other sort of synth sounds and stuff that come together. It might have even been some sort of reverse sort of plucked kind of guitar parts or string parts or something like that. But they're all meshed so tightly in the overall arrangement that they just seem like one big hulking moving machine. Even when there's less or more, those parts are just taking a break. But I think I think that's a positive, by the way. It's not a negative. I think the theme overall, with the use of these seventh chords, with the use of like the kind of mid-range, kind of sort of quarter note accented sort of percussive grooves going on there, with the bass line that was kind of slipping and sliding down the low end, unless it wasn't, in which case things kind of hovered and were misty in the mid to upper register, with the vocals going in and out, taking turns and then coming together at the end, with a solid kind of ability at the end to just have a minute's worth of just the accompaniment by itself, again with like improv over top, or like a refrain of the main melody over top there to kind of remind you about what the last 3 minutes were about, to give you something to think about. The theme is just, it doesn't seem like it's too sort of like distressed about the situation. It's more like you can kind of imagine it's late at night and you're sitting there, you just gotten into bed or something like that, and just kind of whispering each other over. You can kind of imagine talking to your partner or whatever in bed about it. I think that's a kind of aesthetic it gave to me personally, and if that's the sort of what they were going for there, I think that was a success. Because I think all the different elements fit together really neatly and they connect and it makes sense there musically as well as compositionally and performatively. But the studio recording, mixing and mastering is basically the icing on the cake. It's commercial grade. Everything sounded nicely recorded and niched into the frequency spectrum. Lots of stuff in the stereo field. Things took turns, kind of bump, 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 bump. Sometimes they were even behind you. There were some vocal takes which went right back here, or right back there. Tremendous use of the stereo field and the extreme ranges there. It was almost three-dimensional with how stuff kind of floated around. It was purposeful. There was dynamic range. Things were not the same loudness all the time. And it was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression limiting were handled. And just on a final note, the vocals were, they were just great vocal recordings. They didn't saturate with effects change or anything like that. These musicians could just do it on the mic. They had that flow and they had that confidence there, which was palpable. And it was a great performance because of that. Everyone knew what they were doing. Really tight track. Really impressed listening to DEN for the first time. So thank you for checking out my review of this track from an act named DEN and Shi Shi titled Got You off of the OpDen album. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show us some love via the various social medias and Spotify page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as you need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons video. Spiderhands out.